Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're unpacking a story that, honestly, it sounds like it's straight out of a heist movie. We're talking about the 16-year career of a man named Tommy Glenn Carmichael. This was a high school dropout, a locksmith, who went from being perpetually broke to a multimillionaire, and he did it all through sheer ingenuity.
It's an incredible story. And our mission today is really to trace how his tools evolved, how he managed to exploit slot machines all over the world.
And the twist at the end is it's unbelievable. He ends up becoming one of the most valuable security consultants in the entire casino industry.
It's a perfect example of how that kind of, specialized knowledge, that ability to see how things are built, translates directly into understanding how they can be broken.
Yeah.
We're not just looking at a criminal career.
No.
We're mapping a technological arms race.
Yeah.
It's human intelligence versus machine security, playing out decade by decade.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It's Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1980, and you've got Tommy. He's 35 years old.
And he's great with his hands, right? A TV repairman, a locksmith.
Exactly. The kind of guy who can figure out why anything with a motor or a switch isn't working. But financially, he's just drowning.
Yeah, the sources are pretty clear on this. Making about $18,000 a year, constantly broke, credit cards totally maxed out.
At one point, he's $247 overdrawn. He is desperate for a way out.
And that desperation is the catalyst. But you have to remember, that locksmith background, that's the engine. His skills are all about finding the flaw, understanding the tolerances, how to manipulate a mechanism without leaving a trace.
Which is the perfect profile for what happens next. He gets a call.
From his friend Ray.
Right, from Ray. And Ray has been spending some time in Vegas, and he gives Tommy this key insight. These million-dollar machines, they aren't magic. They're mechanical systems.
Full of sensors and switches that can be exploited. And Ray's found a way to trick the simplest one of all, the coin counter.
And what stands out to you here is that psychological jump he has to make. Tommy's whole life has been about fixing things.
Right, restoring them, making them work as intended.
And Ray basically convinces him to flip that 180 degrees, to look at a machine not as something to repair, but as a puzzle with a fatal flaw.
And he shows him the first tool, the slider. It's so crude.
Oh, it's just a bent piece of metal on a wire. The idea was you'd slide it into the coin slot to physically block the sensor that counted the coin. The machine would feel the coin drop, but it wouldn't register the count.
And that's it. That's the moment the criminal engineer is born.
So they go to Vegas. February 1980, the Fremont Casino. Tommy is a total mess. His hands are shaking. He's never stolen anything in his life.
But Ray's the cool veteran. He knows which machines to hit, the older 1970s models. He makes a quick $200 and then says, okay, your turn.
So Tommy takes out a slider, which he's disguised to look like a car key.
Smart.
Slips it in, pulls the lever, and boom, 50 quarters on his very first pull.
Which is what, $180 profit in about 15 minutes?
An insane amount of money for him. He walks away with almost $900 that night. More than he made in 2 weeks of his real job. The hook is set.
And that's the reinforcement he needed. His engineering skills were suddenly worth more on the illegal side of things. So what does he do? He quits his job.
Quits his job and spends the next 6 months doing what he does best, research and development.
He literally buys old slot machines from casino auctions, takes them apart in his garage, and just studies them methodically, looking for every single point of failure.
And this leads to a massive upgrade, the Carmichael Slider V2.
Yeah, and the details here are fascinating. He switches from flimsy metal to dental tool steel. It's stronger, thinner, but the really amazing part is the angle.
The 23-degree bend. Tell us why that specific angle matters so much.
It just shows his deep understanding of the machine's internal geometry. That angle, that specific 23 degrees, let the tool navigate past the internal shields and hit the sensor perfectly every single time.
So it wasn't a clumsy fumble anymore.
No, not at all. It went from a 10-second job to a surgical 3-second strike. He had a 95% success rate on his garage machines. That's efficiency.
And that efficiency demanded operational security. He developed these almost military-grade rules.
Like never hit the same casino twice a month.
And never win over $500 in one go.
Yeah.
You have to keep it below the threshold that gets security's attention.
That low and slow approach was genius. If you win 10 grand, alarms go off. If you win $450,
you're just another lucky tourist.
Exactly. He'd have a drink, he'd laugh, celebrate small wins. And he had one ultimate rule. If security looks at you for more than 30 seconds, you walk. no questions asked.
And it worked. For 4 years, he traveled the circuit Vegas, Reno, Atlantic City, making $60,000 to $80,000 a year, triple his old salary.
But the casinos were catching up. The old machines were getting phased out, replaced with models that had new sensors, new shields. The Slider V2 was becoming obsolete.
The clock had run out. But for Tommy, this wasn't an end. It was just a new engineering problem.
Right. So this is around 1985. He gets one of these second-generation machines, takes it apart, and starts looking for the new weak link.
And he finds it. Even with all the new armor, the coin counter still relied on a single internal mechanical switch, a tiny little switch that flipped when a coin rolled past it.
But the coin slot itself was now heavily armored. So he realizes if you can't block the coin from being counted, maybe you can just trigger the counter yourself.
And that leads to the infamous monkey paw.
An incredible name for an incredible tool. It was basically a 12-inch thin metal rod with a little hook on the end.
And the key component, a high E guitar string attached to it.
That guitar string gave him the perfect combination of flexibility and strength. He could thread it into the coin slot, get past the armor, and then use the string to maneuver the hook.
The sources describe it as picking a lock in the dark.
That's a great way to put it. He was manually flipping that switch deep inside the machine over and over again.
It required this insane level of dexterity. But the payoff was huge. The monkey paw worked on 80% of the new machines. His income shot up to $120,000 a year.
And now he's buying a house, a nice car, telling everyone he's a consultant.
That cover story couldn't last. November 1987, Caesar's Palace. He's working a machine with the monkey paw. A guard notices his hand movements just look wrong. Not like a tourist.
He's caught red-handed, arrested on the spot.
And this is where the story takes a legal turn. He's facing serious time, but his lawyer comes up with this remarkable argument.
It's all about the technicality of the law back then. The lawyer argued that the tool didn't damage the machine.
Right.
And it didn't change the machine's programming. It just manipulated existing mechanisms. So was it technically fraud in the way the law defined it?
The legal system hadn't caught up to the tech, and it worked, sort of. He got a year in county jail, served 10 months, but he was out, and now he was a convicted felon, banned from every major casino.
For most people, that's the end of the story. But Tommy was addicted to solving the puzzle. He gets out in '88, and the industry has evolved again.
The third generation of slots is out, and they use optical sensors.
Beams of light. The monkey paw is now completely useless.
So you're faced with this new genius problem. How do you cheat a beam of light? You can't hook it. You can't block it with a piece of metal.
You don't block it. You overload the sensor that receives it.
He spends months in his garage experimenting. He realizes he can basically create an artificial, never-ending stream of coins by blinding the sensor.
And this gives birth to the light wand.
A simple name for a revolutionary tool. It's just a small battery, a super bright LED, and a thin wire housing. But the method was the brilliant part. He didn't go through the coin slot.
No, security was way too tight there now. He went in through the payout chute.
Explain that. Why the payout chute?
Because the payout chute also has an optical sensor to count the coins leaving the machine. So he sticks the light wand up the chute, shines the LED directly at that sensor.
And the machine just thinks it's paying out an endless river of coins.
It's completely blinded. It registers this overwhelming stream of light and just keeps dumping its entire hopper until he pulls the wand out.
This is the golden age. From 1990 to 1996, the light wand was just unstoppable. He was making $12,000 to $15,000 a day.
A day. That's not theft anymore. That's a global enterprise. He's making $2 to $3 million a year, hitting casinos in Australia, Europe, everywhere.
By 1995, the estimates are that he had stolen around $12 million.
And his cover was perfect. He looked like a retired, well-off guy just playing the penny slots. No one suspected a thing.
But the scale of it,
Yeah.
the sheer volume of cash he was taking out of the system, it started to create a statistical fingerprint. He wasn't caught by a guard, he was caught by a spreadsheet.
Exactly. This is where it gets modern. In 1995, an analyst at the Nevada Gaming Control Board spots this tiny anomaly. Slot machines made between 1989 and 1993.
The light wand era.
Right. They were showing a 0.3% higher payout rate than they were supposed to. A tiny number. But across the industry, that represented tens of millions of dollars in losses.
That triggers a massive FBI investigation. Operation Lightout. They start pulling surveillance tapes, looking for what that 0.3% loss actually looks like.
And they see it. Players inserting something thin and metallic into the payout chute.
And whose face keeps popping up on that footage 17 different times.
Tommy Glenn Carmichael. They have him. They track him for months.
The end comes in November 1996. The FBI watches him walk into the Mirage in Vegas. They catch him in the act, 2:47 in the afternoon, light wand in his pocket. He's facing 85 years.
85 years. A number that makes you realize the game is over. And this is when he plays his last and maybe his most brilliant card.
Facing the rest of his life in prison, he offers the prosecutors a deal, full cooperation.
And not just, I'll stop. He said, I'll give you everything. All 17 of my devices. I'll explain how every single one works. I'll teach your people how to spot them.
He even offered to testify against other cheaters.
The prosecutors had a choice. Punish one man or patch the entire industry. His knowledge was priceless. He knew the system's flaws better than the guys who designed the machines.
They took the deal. It's almost unbelievable. 3 years probation, 500 hours of community service, a $50,000 fine, and a permanent casino ban.
And in exchange, he becomes a mandatory consultant for the Gaming Control Board.
That knowledge transfer was seismic. He hands over the slider, the monkey paw, the light wand, and then spends 3 days just teaching investigators, detailing every vulnerable model, every visual cue.
The industry reacted instantly. Payout chutes were redesigned, optical sensors were hardened, surveillance was retrained. The entire era of mechanical and optical cheating.
It's over, killed by its own master.
And then comes the ultimate irony. After his mandatory consulting is done, the casinos start hiring him. Legally.
The MGM grant, a place he figures he stole about 200 grand from, they're now a client.
And they're paying him $5,000 a day for vulnerability assessments.
$5,000 a day.
It's a direct acknowledgement that his criminal expertise was the best security knowledge money could buy. He taught them to stop looking for hackers and start watching human behavior.
Right. Look for the player who's too calm when they win. The player who keeps reaching toward the payout chute. The guy who only ever wins on the oldest machines in the building.
It was a revolution in their security thinking. And here's the kicker for you. In 2 years of legal consulting, Tommy made $400,000, which was actually more per year than he made during his best years of cheating.
So let's look at the final balance sheet. He stole an estimated $16 million over 16 years, served less than a year in jail, and retired as a respected, if banned, expert.
His journey is this perfect compressed history of the cat-and-mouse game between security and invention. It shows you that the most dangerous flaws are often the simplest ones, the ones baked right into the original design.
Which brings us to our final thought for you. Tommy stole $16 million. But his knowledge, his consultation, helped the casinos prevent hundreds of millions, maybe billions, in future losses. It made their entire industry more secure, more profitable.
So in the end, who really won? Who truly benefited from Tommy Carmichael's specialized inventive knowledge? Was it the individual who got wealth and a strange kind of respect? Or was it the multi-billion-dollar system that took his criminal genius and converted it into superior security? What stands out to you about this strange balance sheet?